Well, we'll get into it like that. I made a nice cup of coffee.
Yes, you did.
Becky, welcome to the podcast. I was going to say the channel. I'm too used to YouTube life.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's exciting.
You're more than welcome.
Finally see the podcast shack.
Yeah.
Life.
It's all right, isn't it?
Very nice.
It don't look too bad.
The whole thing is great.
It's a vibe. It's a relaxing vibe.
It's a vibey.
It's a
place,
vibey vibe.
isn't it?
I forgot to tell you also, with the mic, you might just want to keep it close to you. Don't be
Okay.
delicate with it. You can pull it towards you.
Okay, so would you say
About there's cool.
About there's
About
good?
there's cool. I
Yeah,
should have done
okay,
that
cool.
before we started.
Don't
But who
worry.
cares? We're
It's
just going live. Queen Bee, we have you in the building. Queen Bee, in fact, that's what I want to talk about first,
Yes.
right? Queen Bee.
Mhm.
Why Queen Bee? I know Becky.
Mhm.
Is it just like a play on that?
So when I was 17,
Yeah.
16, 17, I made my Instagram. And at the time, you know, when you're younger, and it's like making a Hotmail account where it's like Biker Babe 999 or like buy me diamonds at hotmail.com. Like these are
Buy me diamonds. That's one of them sugar daddy ones, isn't it?
x-laffy-taffy-x at hotmail.com was my Hotmail.
Was that actually a thing?
Yeah, man, it's bad. But like, just imagine making your Instagram handle at that age, and then you grow through it. And I'm 28 now.
No, but that's cool.
And that's how it started. I just thought it was cool at that age.
It's
you know
cool.
what I mean?
That was the next thing I was going to say. Queen Bee, that handle
I know,
is sick.
Waiting for
I don't know
Beyonce to come for it.
Has anyone asked to buy it off you?
A couple people.
Who?
Yeah.
Because there's another Queen. It's Beyonce.
Beyonce, yeah.
Oh my! Has
Literally.
anyone contacted you regarding that?
No, I think.
Are you waiting for that one?
She's too big, man.
What's her thing? It's just Beyonce, isn't it?
It's Beyonce, yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I when I got verified as well, I was like, that is it. I'm literally verified as Queen Bee.
How did you do that?
What?
I'm not verified. Verify me. Why am I not verified?
It is the weirdest, most long drawn out process.
Okay.
To be honest, it came after the weekend when I was on ITV. So I don't know whether I think my management were working on it for a while, just because I think you can self-apply through the app. But yeah, after the weekend I was on ITV with Goodwood, it just woke up on the Monday morning. It was like pop.
See, that's the thing. Actually, you have to be in some sort. It's kind of more like established media. You have to work with an established media company, or you've maybe be on the news for some reason or whatever. I didn't realise you were on ITV.
Yeah. I did. I was doing Goodwood Speed Week, so I was part of the live broadcast team for the Speed Week.
How did that come about? And is that the first kind of like TV stuff you've done?
So, right, let's do a little backstory, I guess. I started my channel 4.5 years ago.
Okay.
That was sort of 2017, I think. I mean, it's about that. And then I got picked up in 2018 by Red Bull, and they gave me my first show on Red Bull TV, which was Drift Queen, which was madness because I was like, it was one of those ones where they were like, do you want to do this? I was like, yeah, grand, it'd be sound. And then I went to the set for the first day and I was like, why is there 10 people here and 3 cameras and a sound man and all the rest of it? I didn't quite comprehend how big it was. And they were like, yeah, this is your own show on Red Bull TV.
Oh,
I was like,
shit.
Yeah, I was like,
I need to put some respect on your name out here. I've just brought you here thinking you're a YouTuber, Becky. I'm sorry, man.
No, babes, it's grand. It's grand. Like, it seems a lifetime away now. Do you know? That was 2018. And then they brought me back and they gave me a season 2 of Drift Queen. So I did Drift Queen 2. And then then after that, I went on the One Show and they boarded up the front of the BBC house and I did a donut literally live on the One Show in my S15.
No.
And then from off the back of that, they were like, yo, okay, how do you feel about doing live broadcast? And I was like, well, I'll probably shit myself on camera because live is just a different level of pressure.
Double up.
It's a different type of pressure. But I was like, I'm very much the type of person that's like, jump in with both feet and see what happens. You know, if it flops, it flops. If it flies, it flies.
That's it.
So then I started doing Drift Masters, which is Red Bull's own drifting championship across Europe. And I was supposed to have a co-presenter, which was Nick or something. He's on BBC One Extra, something like that. And he couldn't make the first round. And they were like, right, in you go yourself, see how you get on. And I was there, and the head of all content, I think she's head of all live at Red Bull, she was watching me, and I was there with the...
Fuck.
What's happening, guys? Welcome to the Red Bull Drift Masters.
Shit.
Like, just this shaking.
That's
but
crazy.
then after that first round in Austria, she was like, right, the keys are yours. This is yours. We don't need them. And then I just had to learn on the job. So, like, literally learn everything on the job. Did Drift Masters and I've just slowly been moving from place to place. Because like live broadcast just gives you a set of skills, like 'cause you have in-ears and things like that. So then ITV picked me up to do Speed Week. And then pre-record stuff. I'm working on a new show for BBC 3 right now.
No way.
Yeah.
See, this is what I like. See, I'm learning, and this is a good thing. So when I get guests on, either I know a lot about them, and I'm very kind of, I don't know, in tune with what they're doing and everything. And then sometimes I get people on who I know a little bit about, and it just flows organically. So I'm learning about you, and I didn't know you was such a person. I haven't seen any of your stuff, I think, in terms of TV. So I didn't know about it. But YouTube, you seem to be doing well too. Like, you've hit 100K quite recently. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's a proper milestone.
Yeah, it's a big one. And like over the years, I've really struggled with the channel because I didn't know which direction I was going in with it. I was like, do I go down the car modifier route? Because obviously I've got the E21 and that was like my baby modified car. But then I was doing car reviews, and I think I was a little bit not quite sure.
You hadn't found your place.
Hadn't found
like
my niche.
Yeah,
like, like your niche is looking at the modified cars and going out having a great time in them. And I just hadn't really found my niche with it. And we'll get onto the girl thing later on. It's very difficult actually to collaborate when you're a girl because like lads stick with lads. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they all collaborated. I was at the time when Archie had just made his channel. It was the days of Archie, Shmee, James, Sam, Paul. They were all big buddies and they're all going off doing their road trips and stuff like that. And I was just there like, right, cool.
No way.
We'll just make some videos.
So when you say you found it hard to like collab with guys, was that like, you don't have to mention names or anything, or if someone's pissed you off you can, but was that like you were reaching out and you're just not getting any respect back?
Yeah, a couple times.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. There's just lots of different things which are involved in that situation. There's always a girlfriend that doesn't want you anywhere near.
Yeah, of course.
There's always just like lads are always going to be lads. They'd rather make videos with the lads. And
Yeah,
I did a few collabs and stuff, but I think on the whole, I just felt I was like, right, I'm gonna have to make this work for myself here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, to be honest, like to reach the 100K milestone, I might not be as big as some of the other YouTubers, but it meant such a lot to me because it was like, wow,
that's a lot
finally,
of people.
do you know,
that's
like
a lot of people.
it's just finding your niche and really rolling with it. And you'll know what it's like with YouTube. It's very easy to have your confidence knocked if something goes to shit.
Big time.
And your views go to shit, and then you're
Big
like,
time.
oh my god, like what's happening?
Yeah.
And I have to admit, a few times along the way, I lost my confidence with it completely.
Yeah.
But now I'm in a different place. I'm in a different headspace. I'm a little bit older, and I know myself better. And it's easier for you to make content when you're confident in yourself.
Yeah, when you're exactly. I'm going back to it though, like talking about confidence knocking kind of things with YouTube. I still get that now. I'm not gonna lie, because I feel like my come up at least has been at times it's been quick. Like I've dropped some videos and they've went crazy.
Yeah.
And I've actually had like periods, like months, like let's say 6-month period, where I drop a video, I know it's going to be sick. I know the views are going to be sick. And as of lately, my views are just up and down. I'm hit and miss. They're not terrible. None are like terrible.
Yeah.
And maybe I hold myself at a high regard in how much I think I should be getting view-wise.
Yeah.
So when I don't get that, it's almost like I'm a confident person in life. Like, you know what I mean? I don't let a lot affect me. But it's almost like, is there something wrong with me? Am I doing something wrong? Because like, and maybe this is my ego speaking, but when I put content out, I try not to put crap out. I don't make content for the sake of making content because I ain't got nothing to do. Like, you know what I mean? I only put things out that I think are interesting. And it makes me question, like, am I in tune with what my people want to see, So for someone, I'm not saying this is you, but anyone who might be in the YouTube game who hasn't got let's say, a strong kind of, I don't know, personality and are able to deal with these things, it's pressure. It can really mess with your life. And probably at 100K that, YouTube is probably am I right in saying YouTube is your life? Like pretty much. Well, I don't know.
No, to be honest.
I see you're doing all right then.
No, from a very early stage in this journey, I wanted to diversify, because with YouTube, and you'll know this, it's a dedication and also it's a monster. It wants to be fed.
Yes.
So you need to keep feeding it to stay up on the algorithm, to keep your views going, to keep this, and it feed. And I just like my life. I like my life too much. And it's like, I made a deal with myself, was like 1 video a week.
Is that what you're doing, yeah?
Yeah, I do 1 video a week. I do my presenting, I do my social, I've got my brand working, and I've got another thing in the pipe. It's like fingers in different
that's
pies,
why,
like,
because obviously you've got a lot of things going on. But right now for me, this is life. Do you see what I'm saying? I have to make this work. So when I see views fluctuating, it's like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, that's where I want to be.
Yeah.
Like,
and you will get you absolutely will. It was you know, I think for me, you know, everything happens for a reason, but there was that lucky break with the Red Bull deal that came so early on in my career. It gave me an outlet to learn a new skill, which I could then monetize. Like to have live broadcast under your belt at such an early stage in your career. I think I was 26, I think, when I first did it. And that enabled me to then do different jobs in a different realm and earn money that way.
I guess you get more respect too, right? When people approach you now, they approach you differently because obviously you're in the industry, you're part of it. You've got a portfolio. Just like, all right, I've done this. Like almost YouTube is like small time to you, right? Is it kind of like that?
No, not at all. Because do you know what? The television and the media landscape know that digital creators are the future.
It's the future.
They are the future. What you're doing right now, like I looked just sometimes if you can get hold of the viewership figures of some shows that you might watch on Discovery, or not naming any names, but certain shows on certain channels.
Oh, they're dead compared to...
You get more views on your one video in 1 week than they get in a few months.
So this is actually a talking point too. It's like, you know, you're of a similar generation to me. You're 28, I'm 32, right? So growing up, and I think I spoke about this before, so forgive me guys if I have, but it's worth going over because growing up, you know, for me at least, when you make it on TV, that's the pinnacle, or that's always been the pinnacle.
Yeah.
But realistically, digital media is the future. TV's dying. But it almost feels still to me, and I'm not sure about other people, that it's something that I want to tick off the box to say I've done it. Don't get me wrong, like, you know, if you're headlining a show on BBC One prime time, it's a bit different. But if you're on, I don't know, some like random channel at some random time of the day with a low budget program, it's not really, as you say, it's not getting the views. But to me, it still feels like it's something I want to tick off the box, although I know it's dying, if that makes sense.
Well, I don't think it's dying as such, it's changing, right? Yeah. So, you know, we have the comeuppance of the cable cutter. So we're having kids that grow up that aren't even plugged into terrestrial TV. They don't have an aerial in their wall. They're literally Netflix, Prime, Now, all of this. Yeah. And all it will do is change. So like my background before I came into this game was PR and marketing. So I came from a fashion PR background. Okay. And I was right at the cusp. The reason why I jumped into my YouTube channel was because I was the person that was in charge of putting the influencers with the brands from a fashion and beauty and lifestyle perspective. And I was like, how much are we fucking paying this girl?
Exactly. Yeah,
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I was like, right, you know.
I know what I'm doing.
So I just turned my eyes to our industry and I was like, right, where's all the chicks at? And I was like, hello.
Yeah.
Hello. You know, and that was the point where I made the jump with the channel because I was like, you know, print media was dying and then print media is really dead now. Like it's really not doing very well. And it was all going online to digital. And I was just watching. These brands didn't want to be in Vogue anymore. They wanted to be with Paleo Girl or any of these big, you know, In the Front Row and all of these girls. And I was like, wow, this is where the money is going because this question of advocacy was completely changing to these people that people saw as their friend online. Do you know, they had such rapport with them because they could relate to them.
Exactly.
So this change happened, and that's when I made my jump into the automotive industry from the media side. Like I'd already been in it for years anyway.
Yeah, so that's what I want to talk about. I think we've kind of just jumped into it and we've kind of started halfway through. And with my podcast, I like to start at the beginning, is my thing, right? Okay. So when I start whispering. My tagline is the person behind the personality. Ooh. There you go.
That's slick, that is.
I know. You can have that one for free. All right, but basically, starting from the beginning.
Yeah.
I want to know where because, all right, so let me go further back. Or let me come off that for a sec. Boys and girls, right? Growing up.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be sexist, and I know things can sway, but generally, you know, a boy's thing is kind of that rough and tumble, motorized kind of lifestyle. And girls, perhaps, as opposed to, let's say, wanting a little quad bike at 10 years old, would probably want a pony. Would that be wrong in saying? Am I stereotyping hard?
Slightly, but you know.
Slightly, but you see where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
I want to know, you growing up, how did you find, or when was your first kind of introduction to motorized stuff, petrol kind of hedonism?
I was 8 when I jumped in my first cadet kart. So.
Oh, you was karting?
Yeah, so I started at 8. Okay. Because like my brother, basically my dad was always of the mindset that whatever one kid does, I want to offer the opportunity to the others. So like obviously my brother came first, and he was obviously like go karts. And at 8, Dad was like, well, come on then, Beck, like we'll put you in David's old cadet kart and see how you get on.
Cool.
And that was my first experience of it. So I did that from 8 to 13.
Like competitively, I
had a couple offs, which like really, you know what? The annoying thing is, I'll be completely honest. At that age, I didn't have the competitive edge. I got fired off a couple times and like got a bit hurt, and that scared me because I was just young.
Yeah.
And Dad was like, okay, well, fine. Like, do you want? My dad's heavily into drag racing, so my dad writes the rules for British Drag Race. And
no way! Yeah, so you got it in your blood. So like, okay,
Dad's been around drag racing his whole life, so his MSA, FIA, just absolutely loves it. You know.
Okay.
And has always been around the track, so I was always at drag racing with Dad, and he was like, well, look, how do you want to have a go in one of the little junior dragsters, which are basically like it's a little snowmobile engine, automatic, like little mini dragster.
No
Dad
way.
was like, do you want to have a go? And I was like, please.
Is that a thing then? Is that like a series?
Yeah,
kids do drag racing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about this.
Yeah, it's like
Is it happening? That happens now, still.
right now. Right now. And
I want to go kiddie drag racing.
I'll take you, babes. It's brilliant because at the end of the day, like it's all about your reaction time. Like to be fair, if you ran them over a quarter mile, they'd do. I did it once, and Dad absolutely like got so angry at me because you'll burn the clutch out. I did 12 seconds over the quarter mile. Like they're quick.
They're running quick times.
So I had a 790 car, which is a JMA, which is a junior modified advance. So that we ran over the 8th mile. So that would do 790, 7.9 seconds over an 8th mile. Which is quick, man. That's 90 miles an hour.
And at what age are we talking?
God, I was 12, 13. I must have been 13.
You've got to start young
13,
though.
14.
This is how all these like super talented kids or super talented adults get to where they are. They start young, don't they? You know.
Well, so like a lot of the drag racing is on the tree. You've lost it or made it on the tree because if you get a jump on someone, you get a whole shot. Like you're ahead.
Yeah. And
it's as long as you can stay in your index and your car's dialed properly.
Yeah.
Then you're grand. Or you know, a lot of kids get too nervous on the lights. Like I've done it before.
I'm terrible.
You red light.
I'm terrible.
Red light because you actually don't understand how long like half a second is. So we would run on the Pro ET tree, which is like yellow, 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 green. But there's half a second between those lights, and you have to get it perfectly just as the bottom light goes out and the green comes on.
It. Most people get their best times guessing. Am I right in saying that?
Well,
no,
not really. If you can understand the way the tree works, then you can get a good time because you can get a whole shot on the lights. So
okay. And
learning that because the cars reacted so quickly because they're so light and there's only us kiddies in it.
Yeah.
We'd have perfect light awards, so you get 0.001 reaction time, and it was a competition between the kids.
That's wicked.
Like we'd all be sat there in the pits with these little reaction time games.
No way.
Yeah, and it was good crack. It was a really, really nice way to be introduced to motorsport because it's a family. You know, everyone knew everyone, and my dad was obviously part of Santa Pod and part of the furniture there. So everybody,
you respected. Everyone looked after you.
Yeah, like everybody knew that. Like I was Daddy's girl. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Dad would be busy having meetings, and I'd be in the pits with the kids running around getting hot dogs from the burger van and stuff like that. Do you know? It was a really lovely way to be introduced to motorsport because drag racing's very family orientated.
Do you know what? I was fully not expecting that. You're just gonna keep surprising me today. Like, you know, when like the guys that come on, I'm like, how did you learn about cars? Oh, well, you know, I got to about 17, and then I got my first car. It was only a Polo, and that was my first introduction. But I was
very lucky.
Yeah,
you know, like because my dad. I always use the same analogy. If you have one parent that's Spanish, one parent that's English, you grow up bilingual, don't you?
Yeah.
Because you don't know any better.
Yeah.
I never knew any better.
Yeah.
Like when the first things that I remember, my dad's got an old Singer Vogue, which is part of the Roots group, which is like it's old English cars. I don't know.
Okay.
There's Singer Vogues, Hunter Hillmans, and I don't know. Someone else will know. My dad will know way more than I do. Yeah. Dad took his dad's car because his dad unfortunately died really young. So my dad was 21 when he inherited this car. Okay. Immediately turned it into a drag racing car.
Cool.
Painted it with flames down the side. Put twin 45 Weber carbs on it, like straight through exhaust. Put you know, he welded his own roll cage into it and took it to
wicked.
racing straight away.
That's
So
it.
I grew up with this car, and I used to cry when he used to turn it on because it was so loud.
So
You know?
loud.
But that's my first memory.
That's a dream, making little kids cry.
Yeah. I know.
When you start up cars.
Oh, Dad always,
I say it all the time.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like a man.
So that's all I knew from a really young age, was going to the track with my dad and then go-karting with my brother. And just dad always said to me from a young age, he said, don't matter what it is, have a hobby.
Yeah.
It'll keep you off the streets. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like he
yeah,
said,
yeah.
as long as you've got something where you've got a big community of friends and, you know, you're doing something on the weekend, you stay active. Like, he didn't care. He said, if you don't want to do this anymore, you tell me, babe. Like,
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
he's always been the same way. Like, growing up, I lived with my dad from 14 onwards, basically 14, 15 onwards. It was just me and dad. Was he going to pay for my hair or my trainers or my nails or any of that? But if I needed a little bit of help, I was like, fuck, Dad, I really want to get these coilovers for my car. He was like, wait till your birthday, then we can give you a bit of money towards some coilovers. And we started building cars. Do you know what I mean?
Wicked.
And it was...
That's wicked.
it's a really happy pastime for me. I'm very lucky. I really am. Like, he's a huge influence on my life.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So with that kind of introduction, did it kind of die off at any point and then you get back into it? Because, you know, like the pressures of school and just growing up, like, you know what I mean? Did it ever fade away, or was it always playing away as a hobby in the background?
Yeah.
Until, really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like, from the age of 17, I got my Mark IV Golf. Sick.
That was your first car, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Mark IV?
It was a white Mark IV 1.4 with aircon.
Oh, okay. Was that a thing? Oh, yeah, because, of course, back then aircon was like a
Aircon
proper
was
big...
a thing, bro. It was a thing. And I remember being like, oh, my God, like saving up my money and being like, right, Dad, it has to be white. And I'm going to say we got in there before the white thing. Do you know? Remember
Yeah,
when,
because
like,
that
cars,
is before the white thing.
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
that is...
this,
Yeah,
we're
Mark IV.
talking circa 2012,
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah, yeah.
2013?
Yeah.
I think.
Wait, hang on, no, hang on. White
Wait, hold
was
on.
a
I'm
thing
28.
then?
I'm 28. So what's that? I got my license at
10 years ago.
17, so 10, 11 years ago.
2011. You were just on you were on trend with the white thing, I think, because I had a white 2010 BMW E92 LCI, right?
Sick.
And white was the color because they had that
Yeah.
mineral white.
Yeah.
So if they were dropping those cars back then, you probably were there.
Yeah,
like
so-
just about that.
So got this little white Mark IV. First thing I did, straight to the body shop, bang all the rub strips off, get them painted.
Yeah.
Colour code everything. So all the rub strips on the bumpers, colour code it. Then I crashed it. Then, do you know, and my friends still give me shit about that to this day because I thought I was, I don't know, Johnny Bravo or something, like coming into a right-hander. You know, just straight understeer.
Oh, really?
Pure and simple understeer, and just like launched it up onto the curb, broke the CV joint, almost just, I just broke everything.
Yeah.
Like basically snapped the wheel off, and Dad was like, "Good job." You know, terrible. Anyway, I learnt my lesson on that one, and then coilovers was the first thing I got for it, and then I found a set of BBS CHs. 8.5s all round.
Okay.
From a VW Motorsport car, 5x100 CHs, right?
Okay.
And I was like, man, these will look sick.
Yeah.
I think I put Y-Tech coilovers on there as well because they were cheap. They were like 300 quid, I think, something like cheap coilovers. Yeah. Wound them all the way down, cut the bump stops
Oh,
off.
really?
Yeah, mad. Went in. My dad hated the thing. It busted drives, it did CV joints.
Why? Because it was so low.
Just
the way it was
so
sitting?
low.
Yeah.
And then we put polo top mounts in it as well. It rode like shit, but it was
cool.
It was so cool. And I was like, Dad, just like the lower the car, the bigger your balls. And he was like, you shouldn't be saying this to me. Yeah, Dad has been out and rescued me a good few times.
Really?
I was like, Dad,
Oh, man.
I've got no drive.
Did you? So you said with your friends now. Did you? In fact, do you have like a group of girls that share your passion?
No.
No. Has it been hard trying to find that with girls?
Well, my best mate's into football and I hate it, and I'm into cars and she hates it. So it's kind of like one of those things that we enjoy separately. And she's like, "What are you doing? Go to a car show?" I'm like, "What are you doing? Football game? All right, fine. I'll see you on Monday." Do you know? It's fine, like, because I always had that community within the car scene.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've been in it for so long. Like 17, we were off to Ultimate Dubs every March. You know, there was like a show. There was a show season and a show calendar.
Of course,
you know, you'd be going to MIVW, like you could be going out to Belgium, you'd be going to Rotterdam for all these different shows and things. And that was my life for so long. Even when I went to university, because I kept the Mark IV, right? Because that, I'll tell you a little bit more about the Mark IV because it's funny. Sorry. Tell me
That's fine. No, do it.
Tell me if I'm talking
No,
too much.
go.
Because remember, rides like shit.
Yeah.
Awful. Big wheels. I went for bigger wheels.
Good.
I got these rotiforms, quad-plated chrome, 19 by 9, 19 by 10.
Okay.
And I only had the shitty Y-Tech coilovers on there because I couldn't afford air. And like the rear suspension is swing beam suspension on a Mark IV. So it doesn't camber, it doesn't squeeze in.
Yeah.
The body just goes like over every bump and everything like that. And I said to Dad, he was like, "Where's all your tyre writing gone?" I was like,
"Oh no!"
Just literally, I had no tyre writing on the outside of my tyres.
You burned it all off.
Yeah, they were awful. They actually slowed the car down. That is how heavy they were.
Really?
A 1.4, and I was like, "Wow, this is noticeably slower." But it looked bad.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Loved it. I put a little Momo Team 280 in there.
Oh really?
So I looked like Donkey
Race
Kong,
car.
Donkey Kong with this
tiny little steering
wheel. Recaro, black leather Recaro interior out of an anniversary.
Nice.
Swapped my bumpers with a US guy, so I had US spec rear bumper.
Wow.
And then I did a front rub strip delete and then a rear boot lid delete on it.
You were into it.
Dude, like
You're more into it than me, man.
But this is the funny thing because then the next car that came along when I was 21 was the E21.
Yes.
The red car.
Yes.
And the reason why I did that was because I sank everything into this Mark IV and I was like, this ain't going to become a classic anytime soon.
No.
This car, and they still aren't, bless them.
No.
Great cars. Love it.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't want to put all of this money into this car and not have something appreciating. And then I was like, right, Dad, I want a classic.
Yeah. So obviously at that stage now, like, you know, fast cars and insurance would still be a thing, 21 years old, I'd imagine. But being a girl, in fact, how was your insurance?
My insurance is grand, to be honest. I mean, I've got a particular type of insurance which insures me on any car. They know what my job is. They know what I do. It's a personalised insurance.
Hook me up.
Yeah, no, 100. Oh, honestly.
Do you know what? My insurance is good too.
Elevate Insure.
Is that who it is?
Yeah, really good.
Okay.
Really
okay.
good. And you have a broker and...
Okay.
Yeah, they're just really good because they know what you do.
Yeah.
So it's a personalised insurance policy for you. They are really good.
That's really interesting.
Really good,
so I've got an insurance policy that is good. They know what I do and they insure me, if that makes sense. But I'm always interested to hear other people's, if that makes sense. So we'll talk after this. But with insurances and moving forward, was it a fact that you could have got a fast car, but you just really wanted to sway towards something that you thought in the long run would appreciate in value, as opposed to, or was it the look? Was it the vibe? What was
it's a vibe thing.
Because it is a very retro looking car. It's the red BMW, yeah?
Yeah, it's sick. I mean, it's the Baby Shark. It's the first of the 3 series.
Yeah, the shot looking.
Just, you know, because at the time, my boyfriend had a Mark 1 Golf, and I was like, I was very much a Volkswagen girl, so it was Mark 2s, Mark 1s, Siroccos.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, they're cool. Like, I was looking at a big bumper Mark 2. But I was like, I really want something different. And Dad was like, we were looking through some photos one day, and it was like, oh, there's your mum with her car. And I was like, what is that? He was like, oh, it's her old BMW. It's an E21. And I was like, Dad, that's sick.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, no, your mum had one. Hated it because he was trying to take the spring off of something one day, and as it recoiled, it caught Dad's thumb as it sprang back up, and Dad nearly lost his finger. And then, so Dad was like, hate it, don't get one. But then, so I had this bit of money saved up because I had no money to buy a new car. Like, I had like $2,000. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And at the time, at 21, that's all your money.
Yeah,
you know
100%.
What I mean? That is all the money
100%.
in the world. I was like, Dad. And he said, Becky, like, sell your Mark IV. Like, so we were like, right, sell that car. And he was like, are you sure you want to do this?
Because that's a big jump from obviously a modernish car
to a 1983.
It'd take you into a whole different scene too,
Dude,
right?
it had a choke. I was like, what does this do?
It had a choke?
Yeah.
Fuck. That's mad, the pull-out thing, yeah?
Yeah, it has a choke.
Shit.
Yeah, I learnt that one because I filled it up with fuel one day, went down the motorway, and I was like, oh my God.
It's was running like shit because you had the choke out.
I was like, it's done half a tank in about 40 miles.
Yeah.
And I looked and I was like, oh, bollocks.
Yeah.
The choke was out the whole time.
I learned about chokes on bikes. So that's,
did you ride?
I dipped my feet in the water. From like 15, I had a bike, right?
Okay, yeah.
16 legally.
Yeah,
but it was mopeds, modifying mopeds, boring them out, 70 cc's. And then when I turned 17, it was about, some people went 125s and they done the whole 172 kits in them and shit like that, the Gilera runners. But I went geared.
Okay, nice.
125. So I went Aprilia RS 125. Do you know what Aprilia RS 125?
Yeah, I've seen them, but I'd say I've only ever ridden really litre bikes at this point, so I don't know what the
The kids' bikes.
The smaller end is. No, I know what you mean, but I've just never ridden them.
No, so basically, this is a replica of an RSV Aprilla. So basically, it's exactly like a super bike, just a little bit smaller in dimensions. And,
Love it.
do you know what I mean? For the untrained eye, it looks like I'm riding a super bike. Yeah. For someone who rides a super bike, I'm a little bitch. You know what I mean? So it's one of them. But basically, I had a Cadet Mito, which is also, it's a Ducati replica.
Okay, nice.
I couldn't tell you which Ducati replica, but like proper full, what do you call them? I was going to call them canots. Fairings. Yeah. So all the fairings and all that. 2 big round lights at the front. And this thing had a choke, I think. And I would forget to, I would literally, to start it, I can't remember where the bloody choke was. But I remember driving down the road and it was running like shit. And left choke.
Lumpy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So that was my introduction. You ride too then, yeah?
Yeah.
From what age? You're just like a multi-talented...
No, that's a much later endeavour. Again, much to my dad's total dismay. Hates it. But yeah, I got my licence when I was 20. I'm going to say 4.
Oh, you got big bike licence, obviously.
Yeah, A2. Yeah. A2, A1. I got the big one anyway. The one that I can ride.
I had a CBT, and I used to crash all the time on my little bikes.
Oh my god!
That's why I quit.
I've had one crash on a big bike, and I was like, oh my god! But I absolutely love it. Like I'm looking to get a motorbike again this summer. So
sick.
Yeah.
What bike did you have?
Well, I was riding all press bikes. So I've got my KTM in Ireland, which I ride just for doing mountain stuff. But then I was riding press bikes. So I was on Triumphs, so I was on Ducati, Hondas, like just having fun with it.
Yeah.
Because in the end, I kind of made a vow to myself after I came off on the road, had a bit of a scary scare, that I was going to do more track day stuff because I get such a buzz. Last track day I did, I was out on the V2 Panigale, the Ducati.
Okay.
Sick. So good.
So you're doing track days on bikes?
Yeah, I love it, man.
Fucking hell, you're
so
a petrolhead.
Good. So
I'd
good.
love to do that.
Oh,
I'll just kill myself. That's the problem.
You won't, though, because
you're safer on the track.
Totally. Everyone's going the same way. Everybody is of the mindset. You go out with the rider group which matches your talent.
I'll be out there with them kiddies from that fucking drag strip.
But everyone's mindful. Everyone's mindful.
Yeah.
And you just run your line and don't do anything too drastic. But it's a nice place, and you'll especially feel this when everything is so busy and so hectic and videos, views, blah blah blah, all the rest of it. When you're on a motorbike, you cannot think about anything else other than the road ahead. You need pure and utter concentration, and that for me is really freeing. Because you literally have complete clarity because all you're concentrating on is like where you're going next on the track.
And I think that's why bikers love it so much. And some people get offended when you ask them a question, what would it be, bikes or cars, when they're a bike rider, because it's just bikes. And I get it, because when I was on my bikes, it's just, you're free, you're in the elements. There's also like an element of danger to it. Like, do you see what I'm saying? If you fuck up, you could properly die. It's you hitting the car or it's you hitting the curb or whatever, as opposed to metal cocoon.
Yeah, it's a visceral experience.
Yeah.
You know if the man in front's smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
You can feel, no, but it is. You can smell it.
Yeah.
And you can also feel a temperature change.
Yeah,
so when you're in the sun and then you're riding into the trees, you can feel the temperature change. And all of these
elements.
All of these, experiences make it so visceral and it's intense. I love it.
100%.
And you're just very free and you can feel the air, and I don't know, I love it.
If you could only have one, I know we're going a little bit off track here. We'll get back to your car. But if you could only have one for the rest of your life, bikes or cars, what would it be?
Cars.
Why is that? Because of weather and shit?
Just that's where my first love was.
Yeah.
And man, if it rains, forget that. I'm out in a car.
Yeah. There's some people out there doing it like all weather riders.
Oh yeah, ruthless.
They just, I don't know how they do it, because English weather is bad.
Brutal.
It is
brutal. And having ridden in the rain, bad rain a couple times, I was like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm all right, thanks.
Yeah. The one thing about bikes also for me was, I thought I was a good rider, right? And I wasn't, because the evidence was clear the amount of times I come off, right? But a lot of the time it's due to other people.
Yeah.
Messing up. Like, for instance, I remember this one clearly. I had loads of this kind of shit, right? But I remember I was driving down the road on my RS125, and let's say about 100 meters up the road, someone just randomly spun it into a turn. They just cut across the road and turn in. And I come on the brakes. I wouldn't have hit them, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I come on the brakes and the front wheel skidded and I nearly hit the floor. I wasn't, they would have made that turn. Luckily I saved it.
Yeah.
I could have hit the floor and they would have never known. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's that kind of shit. a lot of people out there drive cars, and they don't think of a biker's perspective on things. And that's the thing that was like, I'm so up for a race all the time. If I've got something fast in cars, like literally, I'll race a granny if she looks at me wrong. Like, you know what I mean?
Love it.
And on a bike, I just can't trust myself.
No.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I've driven a couple of big bikes, and you just get to speed very quickly, meaning it can go very wrong very quickly if it does too.
You need to be on your A game.
Yeah.
You need to be on your A game. And also, I will say going from a driver to rider back to driver, you're so much more aware. Yeah. You're so aware because, as I said, I'll be completely honest with you, for the first 30 minutes of a ride out on the road, I've got butterflies. Yeah. Because you're hyper aware of everything that's going on. Because I've had a few times where I'm coming along, I can see him at the junction, he's creeping, and I'm like, come on, buddy. Yeah. You know I'm coming. Yeah. Still goes. Yeah, he looks at me. He looks at me and still goes. And I'm like, oh my God. Do you know, like if I was on the power, that's just how it happens.
I crashed like that. I had a crash like that. I was filtering through traffic. I was on my Cadet Racing. In fact, this is why I had to go and buy my RS125, because I've written the bike off. Well, I kind of didn't. There's actually a backstory to it. I'll tell you in a sec. But I was filtering through traffic on the way to college, because so I had day release college. I'd done an apprenticeship since I was 16 as a mechanic, but HGV mechanic, right? So I was on my way to college, and I was the cool kid there because I had the bike, right? There was another guy who actually had an NSX kind of 125, which is another kind of cool 125 of that kind of time period, right? So I'm filtering through traffic, and I remember there was a guy on a 50cc moped, and obviously I'm on a 125, so I had to show him who was boss. Overtook him, riding a little bit fast. But what I'm seeing is, so there's traffic kind of lined up along here, but there's a turning on the left. And I saw a car kind of pull into a gap in traffic, right? And I'm thinking, now they can't see me, right? And I'm coming too fast now. And it's all happening in a blink of an eye. And I'm slowing down, and I see her front end nudging out. Nudging out. And I'm like, oh, please stop. Please stop. And then she just fucking pulled right out. Whack! Bang, straight over the bonnet. I hit it, and I flipped. So on a bike, I flipped over. Like, anyone watching it probably thought I was dead. I probably only hit it about 15 miles an hour by the time I slowed down.
Enough, though.
Enough. I flipped over the car. I think I just about touched the bonnet and went over the other side. And I hopped up, and the lady was like, what the hell?
Spider-Man over
there. And my bike was all over the floor. And I remember, all right, cool, so I didn't have tax. Oh, no. I didn't have tax, which isn't the biggest thing in the world, right? In the grand scheme of things.
Especially when the guards turn up.
Exactly. And they're looking at you. And so I'm panicking now. So I've hit it. My bike's all over the floor. And this has happened like 2 minutes after I left my house. Like, you know what I mean? So it's the morning. It just happened. I'm like, what the fuck do I do? So this lady's like, her car's fucked up too. I don't know. I must have... At the time, I was naive. I thought I'd hit a fuel line or something because there was all this fluid coming out. But thinking about it, where I hit the wing, I probably hit the washer bottle and it split. So there was stuff coming out. Everyone's around, morning traffic, rush hour traffic. I'm like, what the hell do I do, right? So I'm picking up my bike, and she's wary straight away. She's like, why are you picking up your bike? I'm like, just like, my battery's falling out of it too. It's still connected by the leads, but I'm trying to put it all back in. And lifting a bike up ain't easy either, right? So I'm trying to pull this thing up. Luckily, I wasn't hurt. I think I hurt my nuts, if I'm honest. Like, going over the bike. I hit, hit
this handlebar.
Yeah, so I've managed to get it to the side. We've pulled over to the side, but still there's people who were like, I don't know, let's say 20 cars back. The traffic has moved now, but they've seen everything, and they've seen me now speaking to this woman. And I'm like, I don't know what to do here, I'm not taxed. And what I'd done, right, so I've got obviously the battery is still attached, got it back together, the front's all mashed up, the bars are all like this. I'm like, let me see if my bike still starts. It started, and she's looking at me like, I'm not going to do anything, right? And then she's like, I'm calling the police. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I haven't done, like, in grand scheme of things, I haven't even done anything fucking wrong. Yeah. It was her fault. Like, you're allowed to filter through traffic. I wasn't doing a mad thing. I was going a little bit faster than you should, but I was filtering, right? And then she's grabbed me. And I'm like, whoa, what? Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, whoa, like, by now the game's up because I need to get away. She's grabbed me already. I need to make a getaway. So she's got her phone in this hand, and I feel so bad, right? I'm like, what do I do? So she had the phone, and I slapped the phone out of her hand. I shouldn't have done it, man. But the phone went into a bush, right? And then she's looked at me, she looked at the phone, and when she's went to go and get the phone, I hopped on the bike and I've ridden away like this.
I love the way it went from like, I'm 1 foot in the grave.
Exactly.
I'm 2 foot in the grave. I'm pouring soil over myself.
Exactly. I just thought, fuck it. It's happened now. It's happening. I've done it, right? And I rid away, and I got her. I took all the back roads. Yeah, I'm driving like this, fucking bikes all over the place. And I made it home, and I was like, Mum, I stacked my bike. Like back then, I can't remember. Like, I feel like have bike lamps went from glass to plastic in modern days, but my lights in my Cagiva Mito, it was an old Cagiva Mito, it was like an L-Reg. They smashed in the glass, and I remember when I went around the front to see how bad it was, and I cut my finger deeply on it.
You
Anyway,
break a lens quite easily.
Yeah.
No.
So, but it
Could be. I don't know personally.
Yeah, but
like,
it felt
like a plastic lens will break it. You can break them.
Yeah, but this was all smacked. This was proper glass, right?
Yeah.
And I saw my mum. I was like, I stacked my bike, and I was like, but I ran away after. Like, she's like, what are you doing? And this is a thing for people at home. And if you don't know this either, right? Do you know if you have an accident or like a hit and run incident? Mm-hmm. Do you know if you this was the rule? This was the rule, right? I don't know if it's the same. So don't test me on this, but I think it is still the same, right? If you turn yourself in within 24 hours, they let you off, because basically they base it on people panic.
Yeah.
That's what they said to me.
You're like a cat that's just been hit.
Yeah.
You get up.
Yeah.
When I came off my bike, I high-sided and went over the front of it. My bike went skidding off in front of some guy. And then I just was like,
Yeah.
ow. Okay, does everything work?
Yeah,
Arms, legs. Oh, my knee's fairly wrecked, but I can walk on it.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you just get up and you're like,
exactly.
You know, and then you're like, okay, I'm fine.
Some people like they react different, right? They might run. They might like.
It's just panic, isn't it?
Panic. Most of the time, it's because they're doing something dodgy. Like
It's
didn't have tax, didn't have MOT. Something's up. Like, you know what I mean?
It just reminds me of again, a little great piece of advice from my dad.
Okay.
Anytime you think you're about to do something cool and there's people around,
don't do it. Don't do it.
It's like any time I've ever messed up, thought I was going to do a burnout or a little skid or whatever, that is the time it goes wrong.
Yeah, 100%. When people are watching,
yeah,
I'm usually the kind of person who, for instance, at a car meet, like, I'm not the kind of guy who will be practicing donuts outside of a car meet or trying to doing it so I can go to the car meet to do it. Mm-hmm. But when I get to the car meet and I haven't practiced and I'm not that guy who does that kind of shit, I want to do some donuts. But there's 100 people watching now. I wouldn't dare fucking do it because people know me.
Yeah.
There'll be 100 camera phones of me.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Here we go.
Exactly.
We're in it. We're in it to win it. Yeah.
But that's when you fuck up. That's when you hit the lamppost in the middle with the car park. Do you know what I mean?
I used to go to these meets on a Wednesday night, Dub Club, down at Top Stars car. It started at Sainsbury's car park and then went to Top Stars car park.
Okay.
Sick. And there was a lad that came down, I think his dad's R8 or something, stacked it into the side of your man's car. And I just stood there and I was like, whoa.
That's peak.
What have you done, bro?
Yeah, that's a lot.
And everybody runs over, and then it's like ripping the keys out of the car. It's a big drama, and I was just there with my binoculars, just watching it all from eating my cheeseburger and just being like, "Wow, that's what happens."
Do you know what? It's pressure now at car meets, isn't it? Like literally, because like back in the day, like when we was probably hitting our first car meets at about 18-ish, 17,
19,
camera phones weren't really a thing.
Nah.
Or at least social media weren't a thing.
Nah.
You stacked it, the people who were there saw you stack it, and that was it. It hurt, don't get me wrong. You flopped in front of a lot of people, but it ends there pretty much, right? Now, no. You'll become a fucking meme.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's pressure. And people flop a lot.
Like, I see loads of videos from the States, and do you see that one of the F80 M3 and he does a wide swing into a left-hander and
it goes
straight into the curb. And
does it go up half?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that one.
Chassis, wrecks it.
What'd you
do? My
do?
man's Instagram exploded, and he was like just a normal guy, like, I don't know, sub 10k followers, just something, and his Instagram just went wild.
Oh, really? What, for the better though?
No, just people taking the piss.
See?
Do you know?
This shit can ruin your life now.
And it's there forever. Like, it's there
Do you know
forever.
how bad that is? Thinking about it, right? If you, going back to it, we flop at a car meet back in the day, it's cool, right? It might not be cool, but you might be able to get out of there before anyone gets close to you. And, you lick your wounds at home. Now, people don't even have to catch you in person. They just get you on the phone, right? Your life's ruined.
Where was I the other day? Obviously, the M3's bright yellow and my reg is on the internet.
Yeah.
Some fella came up behind me, and do you know, like back in the day, you'd have maybe a small tear up. Do you know what I mean? Like a little back and forth.
Yeah.
I was like, you're far too keen for this.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, just, he was hustling me, pulling in behind me, flashing me, giving.
Oh, he was flashing it. He knew who you were, though.
He obviously knew the car, and he kept trying to push me along the road. He was in an M2 Comp or something like that. It's the same engine, lighter car. Obviously, you're gonna probably win, but like, it's not the point. I was like, you're hustling me too much. Yeah. Do you know? And then as he came around the car, he's there with all of his mates with the camera phone inside the car, and I'm just like,
yeah, exactly.
you just can't do it anymore.
Exactly.
Like if I did have a tear up and we're doing speeds and your man's inside
just
the
imagine
car,
you've done a
just, like, on
dangerous
camera
left,
and
right,
it's-
overtook a car, and he
Forget it.
posted it.
Forget it.
It's fucked, didn't it?
Forget it.
It's mad.
I truly believe at this point, and you'll be the same. Like, your license is your life. My license is my life.
Big time.
And touch wood, I've got a clean license.
I ain't.
And well, I have a.
It's quite clean.
I have a clean license, and I just want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Like, so I just don't take the bait in that situation anymore. Like when I was younger, like Cov Ring Road, man. Like it was just.
Yeah.
It just loads of stuff happened, you know, and just not anymore.
Do you know what? I'll be real with you.
Mm.
I'm still racing that person.
Yeah.
I'm just so bad.
Yeah.
I'm so bad. But that said, you know, I've been to some meets where people are like we're on big roads and people are tearing.
Yeah, I can't abide by
I can't
them.
try and you've
can't
got
abide
to
by
yeah. It's a bit naughty.
And also, like, do you know, there's definitely a generation of YouTubers coming through now, young ones that are watching people doing mental speeds on the road and they're thinking it's okay.
It's okay.
And it's not.
Do you know what? It's not. And also, this is a thing, because I do a lot of crazy shit, a lot of crazy content, but people will probably say I do madness on the road. But if you watch my videos properly, you'll never see me overtaking a car. You'll never see me doing donuts, like drifting or anything like that on the road. Like, you know what I mean? One, because my talent ain't of that, you know what I mean? But also because of that level of danger. Also, you'll never see me in a built-up area.
Yeah.
So I do take precaution.
Yeah,
and also,
of course.
my videos are edited to make... Not that they're fake, but I might put a couple of clips of... Let's say we done... 10 different pulls in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to...
I don't know. You make me feel like Nanny
No.
McPhee here, like
But no.
policing
But
you.
what... I'm getting somewhere. I say this to say something else, right? So, for instance, in a 10-minute kind of time span, we might do 5 pulls, yeah? I'll edit those 5 pulls into a 3-minute time span. So it seems like we're going a little bit harder than we are. Which, you're right, could then give people the perception that they can go and do this on the road.
Yeah.
And guys, if you're thinking of doing it,
so
we are trained professionals.
Public service announcement.
Don't ruin it for the rest of us. Respect the road safety rules.
Well, but that's the main thing, isn't it? Like,
I take precaution, basically. But anything can happen.
We all have made videos. Like, you watch the old, I'm not going to say their names, like the old car journalists. You watch their videos. They're all pushing on.
Yeah, of course.
But there's a tipping point that I feel that we're starting to get to, where it's like, you know what YouTube's like, extreme content flies. You've got to do something. You've got to do something extreme to be different now. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
I feel like a right old nanny saying this, so I'm going to stop.
No, it's right though.
I just feel like I'm always like, I want to protect our industry.
Yeah.
I want to protect our space.
Most definitely.
And the roads are already being attacked by cameras, AMPR, unmarks, average speeds, taxation, electric cars. We're having everything minimized. So like this last space where we're allowed to be free and have fun with our cars and enjoy it, like just don't want, because once they look into one of us, they'll look into all of us.
100%. I look, there's definitely there's ways to do it and there's ways to conduct it, but as you say, like, the crazy stuff sells. So it's a bit of a hit and miss one, isn't it? It's a catch-22 here because, like, we might tell people not to do it, but when they're getting 100,000 views for doing something crazy, they're going to keep doing it. Yeah. But basically,
I'm neutral. I have my own, I swim in my own channel. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's the thing. And that's one thing I do too. I try not to watch any one YouTuber overly hard for a couple of reasons too. But like, the first one is, I don't want to subliminally pick up shit that they say or do, not know I'm doing it, not trying to copy, and end up copying them, and then someone comment, oh, such and such done that. Because I want to be kind of just doing my own shit, like, if that makes sense. And two, because I'm fucking busy.
Yeah.
I am busy. And you won't believe the stuff that I do watch on my downtime, a lot of the time ain't automotive stuff. I just like the stuff that takes me away in different places.
I'll
like,
let you
know
into a little secret. I do not watch anybody's videos.
Except from mine.
Except yours. No, I don't, because I might watch the odd one, but as you say, it's very easy to be like, oh, okay, well, that's working for them, so maybe I should do that. And it's like, you have to be in your own lane. You got to be in your own lane all the time, like, because otherwise you'll become more confused, because if you're just chasing what somebody else is doing, like, you're not working on what's working for you. Yeah. Do you know? No, and like 100%. We all have to diversify. There's plenty of space for all of us, Yeah. but you need to have a point of differentiation. So you attract your own
100%, because everyone's doing the same shit. Do you know what I mean? And as you say, you got to stand out in some way, shape, or form.
I got tits, so you got to work hard.
Well, you know, it is what it is. Okay. So actually, let's talk about that. Not the tits. Her boyfriend is actually sat there, so we can keep it clean. What's your name again, brother? James. Shout out to James. Drifter. James Dean too. Cool name. But being a girl in the industry and going back to like car meets and stuff, and from a young age, how were you received? Like, as in, I'll tell you my perception before I let you answer that. Yeah. I mean, all right.
I thought you were going to start with only.
I just got to be careful with how I word this.
No, speak freely.
I feel like, right. So, and I'm so sorry if I disrespect or anything like that. But like, so basically, I feel like there's two different types of girls in the car scene. Mm-hmm. But this is such a generalization. Anyway, you've got girls that are into it, really into cars. Yeah. And they're very few and far between. Mm-hmm. The ones like yourself, who really have had the upbringing and, you know, it's in their blood and they love it. Yeah. And they're in it. Then I feel like you've got girls who just come for the dick or attention to a certain extent. Okay. Like, you know what I mean? They haven't got the nicest car. And again, I guess that's down to how much money you got. So that's not the biggest thing. But perhaps they're not, do you know what I mean? You can tell by the car they're driving, they're not into the scene that much. They might have just bought an expensive car and rocked up or whatever. Yeah. And I feel like since girls in the scene have been, what's the word? They've been objectified. Mm-hmm. I've grown up in the Max Power days. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, where girls, you'll have a girl showing her boobs, sat on a car and everything like that. And when boys see girls at meets, right, usually, I'm going to get slaughtered for this, the ones that are properly into the cars are ugly. So they don't get the look in. So it's the ones that, like, you know what I mean? When there's a pretty girl.
Let me see you better here. Let me see you better.
Ugly, but it's all in the beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right?
Correct.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Okay. And then you get the pretty ones that I feel like guys just objectify. So they're never taken seriously. But a lot of the time, I feel the girls might play into that a little bit. You feel what I'm saying?
I think you
have I ruined that?
No, I think you just have to look at each person objectively as themselves. So I think with any kind of general sweeping statement.
I fucked that up to call him ugly.
No, it's a really,
shit! I love you, really.
It's a really interesting conversation because at the end of the day, I mean, I can only talk from my own point of view, right? I grew up around this shit. I don't know any better. Yeah. I always wanted my car to be the tits. All I cared about was having the car that looked great. And, you know, it was never about me being a girl. It was about how sick my car was on the show field. That's all I cared about. Like, I wanted
Do you feel that gave you the edge, though?
Maybe. I don't know. I just never gave it that much thought. Like, my vibe's my vibe. My lane is my lane. Yeah. I wanted my car to be cool as shit. That's all I cared about.
But what about the girls surround you, though? Like, surrounding you? Like, other girls that you might have met in the scene?
Again, this is you getting into a wider, more philosophical debate, I feel. Because, yes, sure, you are, of course, a big fish in a small pond. Like, there's maybe 50 guys to one girl that turns up at the show field who's not someone's partner. So when you do rock up with your own car, you are a minority.
I know I'm going from question to question, but is it a bit cringy sometimes for you? Like, do men, like, because you've got some big ugly men too, there is ugly men looking at you and the eyes are on you, if that makes sense, when you're there, because obviously you're the minority.
Yep.
Do you feel that? Like,
yeah,
or is
like,
it,
yeah, of course, like years gone by, you go to edition 38 or something and it could get rowdy. Do you know?
Really?
Yeah, like we're going back a good few years now, but yeah, it could get rowdy. But I think if you set your stall out as a person that's there because you enjoy your cars and you're there with your mates, then, you know, if somebody wants to be weird, then let them be weird. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not my business. If you want to be weird and be staring at me, that's your business. Yeah. As long as people are respectful towards me, and again, that's a whole different story online.
We in fact, talk about that. talk about that. Do you get loads of dick pics and shit?
No, I don't get sent that because I think people know me well enough online to know that if you send me something like that, get ready to be put on.
Yeah.
Because I would.
Yeah.
You don't send me stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, as I said, people get to know. Like people will know your character. I guess people know my character. They know I'm a piss taker.
Yeah.
Like if someone sends me something, I'm like, lol.
Yeah,
look at this chimp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just. I think you have to deal with it from the point of view that these people are just trying to wobble you at the end of the day. You're always going to get haters online, like you know that. You'll probably get people that take the piss or whatever.
Yeah, you never please everyone.
Exactly.
You know?
And you have, I think, sometimes probably a bit more of a magnifying glass on you because you are a girl. But it's so dumb, the stuff that they come out with. It's like, I've started videos before and it's like, right, I'm fat shit, can't drive, no fuck all, let's get on with the video.
They come like that at you?
Yeah, dude. Like, all
really?
the time. Yeah, all the time.
So that's nasty because, like I don't get me wrong, I've had the odd thing, obviously race and things come into it, but it's not very often. And I don't get a lot of comments about my appearance, if that makes sense. Maybe that's because I'm not.
Boy. Why
Thank
would
you
you?
so much. But maybe that's because I'm not. But no, like I can't understand why people are doing that to you. Like
Because they can.
And is that girls or boys though?
Boys.
Boys.
Yeah.
So what do you think they're trying to gain out of that kind of stuff?
I don't know. Like genuinely, I don't know. Like it. I've never understood it. Like me and James did a video at Christmas where it was James. We had a bottle of wine in front of the fire and he was reading out all my worst comments to me and he just couldn't hack it.
Oh, this is a regular thing then?
Yeah, he was like trying to read out these comments to me and he was just like, oh my God, like how do you read this?
Stop it. Stop it now. That's terrible. No, I don't. So, do you know what? But what I think is, again, I can't comment on those exact messages and those horrible things people are sending you. But for me, when I get a bad one, I just think to myself, What's
the intention?
Not so much what's the intention, but what are you doing with your life? If this is what you feel the need to do. Yeah. Like, if you're doing anything constructive with your life, if you're making moves, or if you're someone I should care about their opinion, people I care about, people's opinions that I care about, don't do that kind of shit. No. Because they're too busy getting on with their lives and making moves, as I say. So I haven't got time to entertain it means nothing to me because your opinion means nothing to me. Do you see what I'm saying?
Of course.
I get a lot. That's how I think anyway. Like, you know what I mean? And then it's delete, block. Do you see what I'm saying?
Slide, delete.
You know what I mean?
Slide, delete.
Yeah.
I get repeat offenders. And a lot of the time, I just let them comment away and I read it and I'm like, okay. Like, you do grow a thick skin to it. Like, for a while when I was getting, like, they kept calling me chubby and fat and this and that. And I think with age, you get a little bit of perspective. Yeah. And I was like, well, I know I'm not.
Yeah.
And, if this is, like, what is productive out of you telling me that?
Do you know
Nothing.
what I feel? Half of the time, they probably just want to see that you've seen their message.
Yeah.
Just because it will probably give them something to know that for some way, shape or form, even if you don't communicate back, that they've had some form of interaction. They've impacted you a little bit. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, they want you to read their comment.
Maybe even makes them feel a little bit closer to you. Oh, she reads my messages. Or something weird. People are weird. Yeah. I can't see any other reason you'd want to do it. You can't really hate someone.
I've read about this.
Like that you don't know.
I've read about this a lot online. It's actually a confirmed form of psychopathy because at the end of the day, if you're trying to upset someone, harm, maim someone, like there's something wrong there.
Hurt people, right?
Hurt people. So I think that these people, like when I bought the 930 Turbo, I got an absolute slate of comments being like, you'll crash it, you don't deserve this. What do you do? All of this stuff.
You don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Who is someone to say that you don't deserve? Guys, you've just sat in front of me and you've just reeled off like how into. And this is the thing. Maybe people don't know. So this is why a space like this is good to sit down and get to know the person behind the personality, right? So, but I can't think of a more deserving person who actually really, I don't know, like you appreciate cars
it's my dream
exactly
car. It's literally my dream car.
And for someone who doesn't know you say you don't deserve it, man, that's horrible.
The audacity of some of these
Do you see what I'm saying?
I had one the other day who went off at me telling me that is not a 930.
Do you know what? Right. So I
was like,
filmed.
what?
Do you know what? This is so crazy, right? So I've spoke to you now.
Yeah.
You have a 930.
Yeah.
I've driven a 930.
Yeah.
And obviously I know the fellow who owns that. And I actually also know someone else who has a 930.
Common as
who
muck,
I speak
mate.
to him. But they're not though. And I'm like, what has happened? And also this one, I want to put you onto this.
Yeah.
So I know someone, I'm going to do a feature on it,
Yeah.
but I would love you to get involved with these guys. So if
Yeah.
you want to,
Yeah, yeah.
like put no pressure. But they've got a 930 purpose-built race car.
Sick.
So it was built from the factory as a 930 race car. So
Yeah.
it's crazy. Have you ever driven anything like that?
RSR?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, it's not. But it's purple, I think, and it's got yellow lights.
Good
But it's
job.
really cool.
Good
That's
job,
all I know.
Good job.
4 wheels. And I think it's got a roll cage in there too. But no, it looks
Sounds
really
sick
cool.
though,
It
yeah.
looks really cool. So if you're into that kind of
Yeah.
thing, there's that out
Yeah.
there. But it's quite weird because these cars are like the original
Yeah.
Widowmakers, right?
Yeah.
And it is like, so when I saw that you got that, I thought it's a car that costs a lot of money, right? It's one of those ones you could have really went supercar. It's kind of that
Yep.
elk, isn't
Yep.
it? Like money-wise.
Yeah.
But you went for that. That just shows me that you're serious. You're more serious about it. Like, you know what I mean? Because again, it's a proper driver's car.
I love it, man.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's one of the most driver's cars that I've driven, and I'm into my old school Jap shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was the one I drove that was just a little bit rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Almost felt like it was
What
fast.
What year was his?
So it was 1979. So it was, I
Which
think,
is an early one.
early,
The
right?
4-speed box.
4-speed box.
Yeah, yeah,
Has yours
yeah.
got 5-speed?
4.
Okay.
It's 4
Do they all have 4-speed?
No, you go
Okay.
into I think it's the G50 box after that, which I think was a 5-speed. And I think that was beyond. Is it 89? Something like that. Anyway, mine's an 88, and she's 4-speed.
So they made what was it, 930? They made the 930
Yeah.
for 10 years.
I think so.
That's-
I'd have
that's-
to Wikipedia her.
Shit,
but
we need a Googler
I know,
right
yeah,
now.
I'm
We
gonna
need.
Google this just before anyone slays
yeah, we'll
me
get it in the
saying
comments.
She knows nothing.
There's always someone. That's quite funny though. But
yeah, it is. As far as driving experiences go, it's the most intense one
Yeah.
that I've ever had because do you know, no power steering,
Yep.
no ABS.
Yep.
The gearbox is a little bit notchy. She's
yes,
4
you can't
speed.
whack it in, can you?
No, she's 4-speed. She's also weight biased to the rear.
Yep.
It's a very interesting drive because as you drive on, she sniffs across the road because the weight's at the rear, so the front is just like
Yeah.
hovering.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And and it's left-hand drive as well.
Oh, yours is. Oh,
It's a
you took it
left-hand-
to that level.
Yeah,
That's
so
a
she's
proper
left- yeah.
advanced level of driving now. Why is it left-hand drive? Which is import, obviously, it must be.
She's an import, so she was in Germany. She was brought over in 2000. 88 car brought over in 2000. The reason why it was brought over because a lot of people that look at these old Porsches, the specs that you would get from Germany are way better
Oh,
than
interesting.
kind of the specs that you would get that came over to be right-hand drive. So a lot of them would be. That's why you see a lot of Guards red. You know, Guards red was like the color.
Okay.
You know, especially when you went into the 964s and stuff. Where I'm just like 20, 80, 75 to 89. Yeah.
75 to 89.
75. Yeah, so the 75 to 77 was the 3 litre, 78 to 89, 3.3. I've got a 3.3.
When was the 3 litre? I'm trying to work out which one I drove.
78.
78. Okay, cool. So
But
I
your
would have drove a
man's was-
3.3
Yeah.
because he was 79.
79, yeah.
Yeah.
So that would have been 3.3.
Okay.
Yeah, it's-
Intercooled. Because they made one without an intercool. Am I right in saying?
Mine is... No.
I think it is.
Mine's got a 964.
You've got a big thing
Is it
sitting on the back of your...
964 intercooler? Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
mine's got a 964 intercooler on it.
Okay.
What was I saying about the driving experience? Yeah, so left-hand... Anyway, specs. The reason why I got a German car was because, A, it doesn't bother me being left-hand drive, like, at all. The cars were actually originally made to be left-hand drive, so actually get
course.
more space. The tunnel in the middle...
That
it
was the
gives you
thing. The pedals in the right-hand
yeah,
drive, they were
really
so
tight,
off.
Tight, yeah. Whereas the left, I've got loads of room. It's grand.
Got ya.
Yeah.
Got ya.
So there was that, and also she's a paint to sample, so she's moss green metallic. So your man who ordered her from the factory back in the day went in,
Okay.
and she's a moss green metallic paint to sample car, which is like BMW individual. So
Okay.
there's PTS. It's non rear wiper. So it doesn't
Is
have,
that a thing?
Yeah, non-rear wiper.
Non-rear wiper
and
back then, yeah?
non-sunroof. So she's perfectly smooth. She's
Okay.
perfectly smooth all the way back down. To the
Okay.
ring.
I want to say the one I drove didn't have a sunroof, but I might be completely wrong. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But what I do remember about it is it was fast
Yeah.
for an old car.
Yeah.
And I get where the Widowmaker thing comes from. It's the way the boost is delivered. Because it's the only thing I can describe it to, who most people will know, is old school Jap car.
Yeah.
big turbo shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Nothing, whack.
You're waiting. It's really peaky.
Yeah.
You're waiting, and then she pops on. You're
Yeah.
yeah. But mine was taken to a rough as well, so it was upgraded at rough.
Okay, yeah.
And it's got a boost knob in the middle of the dashboard, which was retrofitted. So it's running about 1 bar of boost at the minute, but that's turnable.
Oh,
up.
you can just turn it like a bleed valve. You can just do it
turn
there.
up, yeah.
And you feel the difference, yeah?
Yeah, so it's sitting at 1 bar now because until I fully learn how that car reacts, like I don't want to mess with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, in theory, mine's running about 450 brake.
Oh, that's quick.
That
See,
is quick,
the one I drove, right?
Yeah.
He had done. I think it had a hybrid turbo on it.
Okay.
But it had been dynoed at some point. But like, you know, when you got a car that old,
Yeah.
like the fucking history, like it's probably been dynoed a million times.
Yeah.
But you know, I think it hadn't been dynoed for a good like 10 years. I might be completely wrong, but it was a long time. So we didn't exactly know what it was running. But I tell you what, I wasn't expecting it because I feel like he was playing it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Or maybe he thought, I've been in a lot of fast cars. Let me not overhype it and just be natural about it. But when the boost come in, I'm not sure. Are they light cars? I feel like they must be light because they don't look light. They don't feel light from the driver's seat.
I mean, my only sort of metric on that is that I can push it, and it's not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
Okay.
I can push it, like, and it's fine.
Okay, so it probably is relatively
Yeah.
light thinking about it. But one thing that stood out is it didn't stop. The
Yeah,
brake, it was like the
brakes,
brakes were made of, like the brake pads were made of wood.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was like, it's quick, but fuck me, it doesn't stop. Is yours the same? Is that a thing?
Well, I haven't really given it a good old stamp just yet, but I've definitely been on the brakes, and it's not, you know, I'm used to my M3 or the Evo, do you know, where the brakes.
You got an Evo too?
Yeah, Evo 6.
Fuck
yeah.
it. How much cars you got?
5.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Sick.
It's an affliction at this point, isn't
That's
it?
sick.
You know.
That's sick.
Yeah, so like the brakes in the M3 are great, and the Evo are really good as well. E21, forget it. The Porsche, yeah, like you have to be really progressive. If she isn't stopping, you push harder, babe. Do you know,
Yeah, literally.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Push and pray.
It was quite weird because when I got into that car, I thought I knew a raw car. And again, that's through driving old school Jap cars. When I got in that was like, it was a different feeling of raw. It's like a classic raw, if that makes sense. Like you're really, really driving. Do you feel like the gear ratios are really long too? So you're on boost for quite, like we were driving around in second gear everywhere.
Second gear everywhere, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like your real big power bands, second to third.
Yeah.
You know, and get to the top of second, into third, and then by that point you're absolutely flying.
Yeah.
Like you're good up to, I think it's 90 miles an hour in second.
Is it that much?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, 89. I can't
That's
remember
crazy.
What it was. It's top end of 80s.
That's a
anyway, in
lot.
Second gear, yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. That's crazy.
It's. I absolutely love it. I don't have a. Put it this way. I don't have a radio in the car.
Okay. Yeah, he didn't
because
either.
It's an involved driving experience. Like I mean, when you have a classic car, and anyone on your channel will know this, you always play the game of what the fuck was that noise? Like, and you know, it's the same going from the E21. Oh, I'm always listening. I'm listening and looking for oil lights. You know, like I'm just always listening and trying. You can hear something fall off.
Yeah.
With that, because it is my new baby and it's so valuable to me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm always on high alert, like
Of course.
just listening to
Of
it. And
course.
also the sound of it is thunderous.
Yeah.
The flat 6 engine,
Yeah.
it just sounds insane. And I've
Sounds
pretty much
amazing.
got straight throughs on it.
Is it?
It sounds
Does yours
insane.
bang flames? Bah, bah.
Yeah.
Because this one just lets off.
Only little tiny ones.
No,
but
this
like,
one lets off some fucking Batman. You know the old Batmobile?
big ones, yeah.
The big ones.
Mhm.
Big
yeah,
ones.
It's just wicked.
It is wicked.
I love
It's a very raw experience for a German car, especially. I haven't drove a lot
It
of
sounds
old
like a
school.
muscle car, I
Yeah,
always
yeah,
think.
it's crazy.
They sound like a German muscle car.
Yeah. I've got love for those cars. And as I say, like, you know, there'll be a lot of people who don't really get it. They could imagine, but they don't really get it. I've been lucky to drive a lot of different cars and have so many different experiences, but I can really appreciate that kind of driving experience. And
Yeah.
I get why you've done it. But I'm not going to lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would do it.
Yeah.
But that's because I'm the kind of guy who'd probably spend the money on something a little bit more modern. Do you know what I mean? But that's just me. Like, you know what I mean? Because that's my interest.
Horses for courses.
Yeah,
babe, do you know?
100%. But what was I going to say? Getting back to like being treated as a girl and everything like this. What's your final take on? I don't know, like girls in the industry now. Like, I know it's such a generalization, isn't it?
It's really
but like
difficult
because you are a minority. Do you feel like people's views are changing on how girls are seen in the car scene because they've taken girls off the grids at F1 and shit like that now?
Yeah.
Do you feel, in fact, a million questions, right?
Yeah, no, you're grand.
Do you feel like they should have done that?
I think that classic objectification is kind of it was an old school attitude,
Yeah.
and people wanted to move on, so they moved on.
Yeah. I agree.
Women are still able to model and do that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I do understand that it was taking away an income stream for some girls, and that's difficult.
Yeah.
But I think F1 is wanting to be incredibly progressive anyway as a series, and it was just the next step for them.
Yeah. No, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
What about like car girls at like meets? And like, you know, like
Are there
the big...
still car girls at meets?
I
As in,
don't
like,
know.
the ones that sit on
Not
the
like at
bonnets
meets,
and
sorry.
stuff?
Like, let's say like a
Like
big event.
tracks or
Yeah.
something
Is there
like
still
that?
car girls repping? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
I'm so out there. I do not know.
I'm so out of touch because it's been so long since I've really gone to car shows that I wouldn't even know.
I worked in Malia in 2000.
Of course you did. Malia.
Have you been Malia?
Yeah, of course I've.
Have you? What year?
Oh my God, probably 2008. Like.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I worked there 2010, and I went there 2009.
Did ya?
But I say that right to say this. I met a girl when
Yeah.
I was out in Malia the second time when I was working there. Actually, we lived in the same place, and she was a car girl, as in like a car. What do you call it? A promo girl, kind of promo girl. She was one of those. But that's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But tell the truth, I haven't been to a car show, and don't get me wrong, I don't go to a lot like of the big ones like tracks and anything.
Yeah.
That I can remember seeing a car girl at recently.
Yeah.
It must be a thing. Still,
I don't know.
more
you know.
clothes.
I don't know. Jesus. I don't know. You know, I haven't seen it. Obviously, there's a lot more of an explosion of content creators online, which is great to see. But I think like the classic car girl in lycra thing, of course, there's still going to be the odd throwbacks here and there. But I think everything's moved on. Like Nuts magazine gone. All the lads,
Nuts and Zoo.
Nuts Zoo.
Oh my God.
Max Pat, like it's all everything's just like everything's moved on. There's no page 3 girls anymore, really. There's not like glamour girls are not really a thing anymore. I don't think. I don't know. Again,
I don't think they are.
I don't pay any attention.
They probably are.
I don't pay any attention to it.
It's probably more niche now.
They're all Instagram models now, aren't they? So that's the way things have moved. It's just moved online. It's taken on a different form, isn't it? You've had the up and coming OnlyFans. You know, that's very popular with quite a lot of girls in the car scene.
Yeah.
It is.
How do you feel about that though?
Well, I feel like you've got a captive audience, haven't you? I mean,
you might as well capitalise off it, innit?
Guys, it's not for me. Do you know, I don't feel empowered by doing that. Some girls do. So, and I don't judge them for it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I look at my demographics and my video, you know, I'll look at it and I'm like, fuck it, 99.7% male watching my video.
That's your demographic?
Yeah. YouTube videos can be...
So yours is the same as me. That's really weird. So mine's... As much as it would be cool to have a vast amount of different kind of girls and boys watching your things, right? I think my demographic is 97% men, 3% girls. Yeah. You know, but that, and again, it kind of shows that is probably the amount of guys who are into the car scene versus the amount of girls, right? In a nutshell, if ours are the same and I'm a boy and you're a girl, I would automatically think you would have the attention of more girls, right? Because you're a girl, you're doing it for them, right?
Yeah.
But to show we have the same is either men are overly creepy, they're overly interested in what you're doing,
or
as opposed to girls.
They could just like my point of view on cars.
Of course, of course, 100%. But do you see what I'm saying there? Like, it seems like there's a small percentage of girls that are interested.
At the end of the day, I was very lucky to be brought up in an environment where I was surrounded by cars, so therefore, by proxy, I like cars. Whereas there's a lot of other girls that are in the same situation that are in it as well. But on the huge, vast majority, like, there's not so many girls that are in my position. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's
there's not many people that are in your position, boys or girls.
That's very true. As I say, I'll always say I was very lucky to grow up in the environment that I did. You know, we didn't have a lot, but what we did have, we put into cars. Yeah. So for real. I'm grateful for that, you know, because at the end of the day, I think if kids will grow up liking what they like, but obviously influences from our parents. Whenever I talk to a lot of girls, which is annoying really, because as a girl, we always feel like we have to prove why we like cars. I have to explain to you. Instead of being like, my man who just bought a Corsa and he's like, yeah, I'm going to put some wheels on it. Like, yeah, join our gang. You're sick. You like cars. They're like, why do you like cars?
Yeah.
And I have to be like, oh, my dad likes them, and I grew
you know
up
what?
and
And
I raced
I've
and
got
all
to
this.
say,
And it's
yeah,
like, I
I'm
feel like I have to fucking prove why I'm here, and it's like, I don't.
Do you know what's mad, right?
I absolutely
No,
don't.
you're so right. And I almost even feel the same. As in, sorry, I almost feel like I'm doing the same, should I say? But
What, in this
to you,
conversation?
but not out of, just to gain your perspective
Yeah.
on things.
No,
Because, do you know what? I'll be real with you.
Mhm.
You're the first girl I've ever sat down with, for one, and spoke cars about, but for two, that's ever been on my platform, any of my platforms.
Mad.
So it's really interesting to see your side. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know no car girls, but the car girls I see,
Yeah.
I can only go off
You're
the
making,
vibes they're giving out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
like,
all of them do, but some of them are giving out that OnlyFans kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, there is. There's a lot of girls that are into cars that are on OnlyFans. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
But again, it's about being in your own lane. I'm
Yeah.
doing what I'm doing, and it's working for me.
That's
Like
it.
I've got, you know,
That's it.
I made my channel, and then I have my own show on Rebel TV, and then I've become a broadcast presenter, and now I'm doing a TV. It's like I'm in
Yeah.
my own lane, babe. Do you know?
100%.
They're not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And do you know what? The more time they're spending doing that, which is not a case of me versus them, it's
Yeah.
absolutely not. I'm paving my own way for the
Yeah,
next girl to
100%.
come up who
Hun-
wants
See,
to do
that's the
who wants to
thing.
do what I'm doing, and I can be like, right, here's a pathway.
Definitely.
This is the way.
Definitely.
This is the way I've done it, and you know, I'd love to be able to help more girls that want to
Yeah.
come up and make that happen for themselves. There's a young girl called Kate Platt. She's a single
Oh,
mum.
Kate Platt. I know
She's
Kate
young.
Platt. Shout out
Yeah.
to Kate Platt.
Yeah, she's young and she's a single mum, and
she's got a Fiesta in that.
Oh,
she had a
used to have
Fiesta?
She's got an S1 now.
We got to get her on here too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she-
I've spoke to her a couple
I
of times. Actually.
FaceTimed her one day and I was like, look, what do you want to do? And she was like, I want to do what you do. And I was like, all right, well, sound. Put your head into your content. Don't fuck about.
Yeah.
You know, just
Yeah.
this is what you have to do.
Definitely.
Get your head down.
Definitely.
You know, like
I think, do you know what? I really do think sitting there and speaking to you, and again, you're the first and only person or girl in the scene that I spoke
Jamie
to.
doesn't talk to many girls.
I
do
know,
you?
I know.
Just doesn't
Holler
talk
at
to
that,
many
and
girls.
my missus is watching it. Do not holler me.
Sorry.
I do not like that. Do you know you be like honestly? I'm not just saying this.
Yeah.
I do not get any girls in my DMs. I don't. I had one.
Oh,
One.
it's so funny
I'm
with
offended.
James. It's so funny with James, right? Like everyone. So obviously James is quite big across his platform. It's probably like 500,000 across.
Oh
and-
really?
Yeah, I can't wait for you to go home and be
And
like,
Google him.
James.
Do you know
Dean.
what? Right? I kind of feel like he should be sitting here next to you, like you know.
Yeah,
But
man.
it's just one of
But-
those things.
And everyone's like, aren't you worried about girls like messaging him? And I was like,
Yeah.
hun, they're all young lads that are like, oh my god, I wish I could drive
Exactly,
like you.
exactly,
You know,
exactly.
it's the
Do you
same.
get many girls in your DMs?
Yeah, babe, do you?
And if you do, I'm offended that I don't.
There would from competition there would be sometimes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't.
'Cause
I
competed
don't.
in the States for a number of years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think you're obviously maybe you're a lot bigger.
My
than me in that
DM's a
respect
bit pesky, innit? Like
it's
I,
funny.
I send them to James. I'm like, whoa.
Creepy guys.
Yeah.
then. That's what I mean.
I've got a guy at the minute begging to send me $3,000 for a selfie, and I'm like,
Free just for a selfie.
yeah.
$3,000.
I know.
I wouldn't send him a picture of my face.
I would take that selfie. $3,000
No,
me personally.
I can't do
I'm
it.
taking that.
I can't.
You want a bit of cleavage?
I can't.
I'll get you that too.
I can't
You know what I mean?
do it, man.
$3,000.
Yeah, it's madness. Like my
Wow.
my DMs can be a bit crazy, and I'm. You know what I always think to myself? I'm like, you look at all my pictures, right? They are not risque in any way, shape, or form. Because I've always wanted to protect myself from that judgment. From very early on, I was like, I'm gonna get judged here. So if I make myself impenetrable, that's probably the worst fucking word to use in that
Cool.
context. But you know, if I
Just clocked. Shit.
you know, if I make my car's sick, I'm not online like showing myself and doing all this stuff, but like, and I am then they can't.
You're
they
not a
can't come
target.
for me.
You're not.
They
Yeah,
can't
yeah, yeah,
come
yeah,
for me
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like I'm here by my own right.
Yeah.
Fuck, I just lost my point of view because I said that.
But you know what? Yeah, no, that was actually funny. It took me a while to clock, right? And the way you had to repronounce it and say it twice,
I know,
you properly
for
made a
fuck's
point of
sake.
saying impenetrable. But yeah, so do you know what? And what I do want to say also is I'm not even knocking anyone's hustle now, because you see like girls who are doing the OnlyFans thing,
that was
yeah?
it. My point was, sorry, I just thought I'm very PC. And I
Okay.
still get stuff in my DM. So the girls that are less PC,
Okay.
their
It
DMs
must be
a
wild.
cesspit.
It must be a
Wild.
forest of dick pics.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, anyone who's got a hustle, so if Instagram car shit is the lead on to your OnlyFans where you're getting paid, more power to you. realistically, because everyone's got to fight. We all got to live. We all got to eat. And, you know, some people have certain morals, some people don't. And there's fine lines in the middle. And also on OnlyFans, not that I've ever been on there, I'm not just saying this, but I know there is levels.
Yep.
It's like not everything is instant porn. Like, you know what I mean? I think I think you can do like classy shit, like risque shit, and then
Love that.
you know,
Loved that.
and then you can do the all out, you know, whoo, here I am.
Yeah.
So yeah, not knocking anything, and it's just, as I say, it's interesting to gain your perspective. But I think as a role model, I really do think you are a good one in terms of just fighting, not fighting for the girls, but holding that corner for the girls and being the person. Hopefully, what's the word when you're the I've totally forgot the word, but basically, I don't know. You basically set a good example. I feel like for girls to follow in your footsteps.
I grew up, and hear me out here. I grew up wanting to be sick, not sexy. I wanted to do a wheelie. I wanted to drift a car. I wanted to drive sick. I wanted to have the best car. I wanted to be the best at what I could do. Being sexy to me was a fucking cop out. It was the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas, like, when you're, you know, if you can handle a car, if you can really send it, that to me is far more impressive.
Of course.
And that's not
Talent,
knocking that side of stuff. I just wanted to be that girl. I wanted to be the girl that could do it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what's always motivated me. And sometimes I worry that online, it's better to be sexy than sick. Do you know?
Yeah.
And
it's weird, isn't it?
And that's all I want to do. It's like, if I leave any trail of destruction in this world, it would be the fact that I was out there doing my thing, learning new stuff, being able to just really kick it.
Yeah.
And that's what, trying things, like trying new things, like move from just being behind the camera, in front of the camera, going into live broadcasts, going into TV shows, just really living it. Like, at the end of the day, why have we done this with YouTube, right? Because we want to live our own life the way we want to live it.
Exactly.
We're making it up as we go along. We're all winging it, you know?
Of course.
We're making it happen for ourselves.
That's right.
And the reward is great at the end of the day, because in the last 4 years, I've been on a massive journey from not being able to afford my rent to being able to buy myself a 930 turbo.
Amazing.
And
that's self-made. That's through passion and hard work.
And I will never be the type of person that blows smoke up her own arse, because I think, like, you're always on a journey, so you're never done. Don't pat yourself just yet.
Yeah, we're learning along the way.
Exactly.
Like, you know?
But I just feel, from my point of view, if that was my daughter and she was watching, I'd rather her watch someone who can do a wheelie, or you know, just do something cool. Have a hobby.
Definitely.
That's Dad coming through me. Do you know, like,
cool,
Dad was always like, have a hobby, have something which makes you grow, rather than stagnate. Like, I think there's this whole concept of finding happiness in life, but I think it's flourishing. You know, you've got to learn. Keep learning. Every day is a school day.
100%.
Learn how to do different stuff. And I'm nowhere near at the end of my journey with my driving and my riding, and that's the exciting part of it, because that's my next 20, 30, 40 years.
So this is the mad thing, right? So if you've achieved this in 4 years, right? Fuck. You know, if the world is good to us, you've got another 40, 50 years. Do you know what I mean? Where the world is your oyster right now. You're going to
ask me, where do I want to be? Do you know
where do you want to be in 5 years? No,
but
have you got a plan?
Yeah,
okay.
Totally. Just going to explore. Obviously, I want to always keep up my digital side, but I'll try and keep that at a steady pace. I want to obviously keep going into the presenting thing. I have a couple of businesses coming that I'm just working with at the moment, which is really exciting.
Good for you.
So there's that. But then eventually, I actually want to retrain as well, do my second degree. I've got my first degree in business and economics. I want to do my second degree in counselling.
Amazing.
And help people that have been through, you know, drug and alcohol abuse and that sort of stuff. This is really heavy. It's gone really heavy now. I want to retrain as a counsellor, and I will just try and help people when I'm way further down the line. Yeah. Probably like end of my 30s, start of my 40s, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's actually where I get a lot of, I don't know, is it happy? I like helping people, and I just, having friends that work in the prison system and things like that, like, I've seen a lot of what goes on, especially in the depths of Coventry, and I think that's where my heart is.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
really
what I'd like
nice,
to do.
man.
Really in like the really long term. Yeah.
That's it.
Right now I want to ride bikes, drive cars,
Do
drift
cool shit.
cars,
Yeah,
do
yeah,
all
yeah.
of that stuff, travel the world.
Yeah.
Like me and James have a really unique opportunity that we both work for ourselves.
Yeah.
We're going to Russia this
I was
summer.
going to
We're
ask
going
you
to
about this,
Russia.
man. That's
We're
so crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know, I've been offered to go to Russia too.
Sick.
I know a guy, shout out to Yuri.
Is he the guy who's got the 6.3 AMG? And
Probably, he's got a million cars. He had a Mansouri G-Wagon. He's been on my channel a couple of times. He's got loads of cars, Mustangs. He's
It's
little
grey out
young
there.
Russian kid.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of a different guy who's
Okay.
just this wild guy who's just doing burnouts in the middle of Moscow.
He's not that guy.
Okay.
He's not that guy. He does go back, and he's still got a strong Russian accent. But he's only 21, a young guy. He's over here studying. But he wants me to go over, and it's just, it's like, it looks like he's fucking lawless over there. Like literally, drifting is a thing that happens on the roads out there, not on the track so much, right? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, because I've got my PC hat on right now. I'm like, no, it doesn't. We do it on tracks and tracks only.
Do you know what? Yeah, you don't want. It's all right for the Russians. They say, "Come on." This is what Yuri's saying to me. Yeah, we do whatever on the roads. It's all right.
Do his accent.
No, I
on,
offend
go on.
so much Russians. Jamie, Jamie, why don't you come? Why don't you come? Nah, sorry. See, that's it. I've just lost all my Russian demographic.
I love
There
that
we go.
I managed to make you do that. So my work here is done.
Basically, he's like, "Come out. It's lawless out there." He's not saying that, but he's like, "Look, police try to stop you. We don't stop for the police. Da, da, da. You don't stop for the police. When they see me, black guy not stopping from England, I'll go to what do they call him? A gulag? Is that a gulag? A Russian gulag?
well-
You'll never see me again." They'll be like, "What happened to that YouTuber Jamie?" Yeah, he went to Russia. Yeah, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll appear 50 years later and tell my story. That ain't happening to me. But it looks quite.
Piers
it look-
Morgan life story.
Yeah, exactly. It looks kind of wild out there. So,
Yeah,
what's the plan? Are you just going to compete?
So James is competing. He's in IDS, so he's doing the Russian Drift Series, which is 7 rounds, starting in Moscow all the way over to Serbia, which is Sochi Autodrome, which is the last round. And he's obviously just built a new car for it. And we're kind of joining forces. Like, I'm going to help him with all his media. So I'm going to be
Sick.
making videos and just helping him along the way because he's got to concentrate on driving.
Of course.
Because he did Formula Drift for the last 3 years, won it consecutively.
Oh, you're a big
And
deal.
then after
You're a big
Formula
deal.
Drift, it was
Shit,
time
man.
for it. It was time for a new challenge because he'd never been to Russia. So it's basically new tracks, new drivers, new car.
Is it a level up?
New challenge.
Is it kind of a level up? Is it like going from
It's
Premier
huge.
League to?
Like it's
Champions
about
League
the
or-
same.
It's like, you
Right,
know,
we need to swing this over a little bit more. Hopefully that'll pick you up a little bit better.
yeah, it's like top of the. So FD was like the pinnacle of the sport, but it's just a number of new drivers that we haven't competed against before, and there's also some of the top Japanese drivers competing in Russia. So the whole grid is like new opponents that I've never matched up to. Where
Wicked.
the people
Wicked.
in the States and in Europe, I've been battling for the last 10 years.
It's old hat. You all know each other. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a new
It's-
challenge.
Sick.
It's really, really fucking exciting.
Oh, I wish you the
I'm-
best of
and
that. That's an adventure.
It is.
That's a fucking adventure.
We're really lucky. You know, we met each other on the first series of Drift Queen.
You
And
met each other through that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah,
That's
we-
wicked.
We
Oh,
met,
really?
we met on the first series of Drift Queen, and it's just been such a journey over the last 3 years.
Oh, that's sick.
And
That's
we're
it.
very lucky that we can travel. We can travel with each other.
Yeah.
And we work for ourselves. So this is what I mean about the YouTube. I like my life because it's
Yeah.
like we're on the road together.
Yeah.
We did
Doing what you love.
over 70 flights. Like we met in the first year of our relationship. We went to 13 countries
Oh, that's
because we were
that's
just bouncing around,
Yeah.
like just going where. And a lot of the events that he was driving at, I was working at.
sick. Oh, that's cool.
So like we went to the 24-hour race. He's drifting on the track. I'm working.
yeah.
You know, go to Goodwood. He's on the track. I'm working.
That's a
Drift
dream,
Masters.
man. Ain't that a dream?
Drift Masters. He's driving. I'm working, and it's just we're like we're just I get my best friend and a boyfriend, and I
Yeah.
get to work. We get to earn money at the same events
Yeah.
Travel the world.
and travel the world.
Travel the world.
I feel like I'm like pure like boyfriend gassing now. I'm like
No, that's sick, man. That's sick.
No,
That's cool,
we're very lucky. I'm blessed.
Yeah.
I hate
No,
that
see,
word, but
it's-
you know what I mean.
No,
It's
it
just,
seems like you are. You two, like, a sick fit. You've got someone who's a wicked drifter,
yeah.
top of the top, from what I'm
He's-
hearing.
And I learned so much from him.
Yeah.
You know, I'm with the drifting. I did.
Do you do drifting too?
Yes.
Do you try it?
Yes.
Were you doing it before?
No.
It's a drift car.
I have a drift car. I have an S15,
Fuck's
SR20
sake.
S15.
You're just too cool.
No, I'm
She's
not.
just very cool with it. She is cool.
Yeah, I've got an SR20 S15.
Oh, man. What kind of power?
She is
370?
370.
Yeah.
Just enough. Hydro and all that, obviously.
Hydro.
I'm using that cool term. Like
cars.
I've been in about 2 cars at hydro,
Yeah.
and I've never pulled it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
It's quite a simple setup. It's Driftworks hubs on the front. We've got a few modified externals, like nothing too crazy. Cars 2-way diff in the back, hydro, and then just SR20 and a sick Origin Lab kit on it.
Okay.
It's bad boy. I'll show you a picture.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, really cool car. Lovely to drive. Lovely. But like at the end of this year, I think we're gonna do a bit of heart surgery. I keep saying James is like
Heart surgery?
James is the master of the 2JZ. Like he's always 2JZ'd or like all of his cars, all bar the RX-7,
RX-7.
which is a SR20.
SR20.
Yeah.
I almost feel like we need to have a conversation with you,
Oh, so
At some
get
point.
get him back on
Yeah,
because he's
man.
fascinating.
because I'm sure. Because do you know what? Drifting is real cool, but it's something I've never paid a lot of time to, if that makes sense. I don't know a lot about
I'm
it.
going to jump in here because in the UK, drifting is very different to Ireland, Europe, and the States. Out there, it's a professional sport, right? Big money sponsors, like especially in Formula Drift in the States and in Russia. It's a real sport. Whereas, like over here in the UK, I don't know what's happened. Like, I don't
What do you mean
talk.
though? Like, what is it like? Kind of just a bit.
Just there's a lot of
Half-hearted?
It's got a really bad rep because there's a lot of streeto going on.
Okay.
There's a lot of street drifting that happens.
Okay.
I mean, you jump in here whenever you want.
Yeah,
like,
so I guess the street drifting kind of puts a bad name on
Pull the chair forward.
what's happening on the tracks.
Sorry, guys.
So I think, that in the UK, a lot of street drifting, people crashing, people that don't have experience, and these videos go online and go viral.
Okay.
And that sometimes gives the pro drift community a bad reputation.
Got ya.
So it's just been, and there's a lot of attitudes in the scene over here as well in comparison to other countries that I've experienced. So it's, I think it could be huge here.
Yeah. So is it not that big here then?
It's kind of.
Is it not?
It's kind of
Hard
not
to
really
explain.
like there's no real pro teams, pro drivers. You know, it's
I
like
didn't know that.
I'm doing this full time since 2013, drifting professionally.
So
Since
you've
then,
been doing it before it was cool. Wait, hang on. When did Tokyo Drift come out?
2007, 2008.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
Is that what got you into it?
I started competing in 2007, but I was working a job to try to afford it at the same time, working like slaving myself, and. I left my last job at the end of 2012, and I've been full-time competing in drifting.
Oh,
since then.
2006. Sorry.
Really?
Tokyo Drift.
Was that the was that the kind of fuel to your fire?
Not really. So I come from a huge motorsport background. My dad used to build rally cars for a living, and he used to compete in rally himself. And he was a legend of the sport back in Ireland.
Really?
He had one of the biggest rally car building shops in Ireland, and it was inevitable that I got involved.
See this photo right here?
Yeah.
So I'll show you. This
Yeah.
photo is a picture of Mike Dean, which is his dad, on the strut top of his brother Jimmy Dean's rally car because the throttle cable had snapped, and he's literally finishing the rally with Mike Dean sat on the strut.
That's my dad sitting
Literally
up there.
hand pulling, bracing himself on the front of the car, hand pulling the throttle cable to get your man back to the end of the stage.
So right, hopefully you can send me this and I'll put it up on screen,
yeah.
right? So the matey is sat. What's health and safety?
Nah.
Is it? Can you do this
Yeah.
now?
Look at his shoes. Look, they're
He's
Sunday shoes
bracing.
and everything.
He's literally like
He's got the loafers on, right? A helmet, no bonnet, and he's riding.
yeah.
A rally car.
He's controlling the throttle. So
Oh, he's doing the throttle.
He's literally because the throttle cable, is it snapped?
yeah,
throttle
snapped.
cable
So they
had
pulled
snapped.
over the car. They had no throttle. They pulled over. My dad pulled the bonnet off, threw it up in the ditch, sat up in the strut top, and they finished the rally. So when they were pulled over, a car passed them out, and they managed to catch that car again and re-pass them out and finish ahead of them.
That is crazy.
It was the
His
final
daddy-
stage of the rally, so they weren't giving up. Like it's a huge thing in Ireland, never give up. And they got to the end of the stage, and they maintained their place because they caught him past the guy that passed them.
Oh man.
But then the rally officials disqualified them because my dad wasn't wearing his harness. It was the thing they wrote down.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
Well, you can
like-
see in that picture the 4 wheels are off the ground.
Yeah, like literally.
What?
the
Do you know
forward.
what? So is he a hero for that? Did that kind of cement him in rally history?
If
Yeah,
there was
that
Were
social
people
media-
doing that? Was that normal? Was that a normal thing?
That picture is like
If
famous.
there was social media back then, that would have went
Wild.
viral.
Oh man.
And like his dad is such such a G.
He's a
Like
legend.
he's so sound. Like my dad was a drag racer, his dad was a rally car driver, but like James's dad is like a pure Irish, just like fuck it, it'll be grand. And that's it. And he's just
If
like,
we have a party or something, he's
Oh,
the last
he's-
man standing.
he's
Oh,
there.
really?
You know, like,
Oh, I love
he'll
it.
be,
he'll do
yeah,
an all-nighter with us, no problem.
yeah.
Oh, that's epic.
He's a G.
That is epic.
I'm very lucky that I get to spend. I'd never been to Ireland before I met James. I went to Ireland and I've just been introduced to this like
Yeah.
wild
New
party
world.
of people that love cars, love rallying, love build. Like his brother's an engine builder.
Wow.
Like it's in his blood as much as it's in mine.
You
know?
two seem so cool. I want to hang around with you more. You know, one of those ones. Like you two are cool. Oh man, that's like a match made in heaven. Like, I wish you two the best, man. Like all the best with the Russian trip and you know the is it championship?
Yeah.
Do they call it championship?
IDS,
Yeah. All the best with that, bro.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna be watching now. I'm gonna be
Exciting
watching. I'm gonna
times.
proper
Awesome.
like check up and see how things go. So yeah, no, and thanks for coming. I think we end it here, Tatra.
Yeah,
we've been going for about an hour.
Right, yeah,
It's got a
thanks.
bit wild now. To
No,
people are hearing
it's-
voices, they're not seeing people.
I know.
It's all-
No, it's. I've really enjoyed coming on.
Nah,
and
likewise,
just
thank you.
thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming down, because I know obviously you're a busy person and you've travelled a way to come down.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your time, honestly. And you know, not knowing you before and just seeing what you get up to, kind of just, as I say, dipping my toe in the water, I thought you were a cool person. Now I've sat down and kicked it with you, heard your story. You're fucking so cool. You're so cool.
you.
And
I'm really bad at taking compliments.
no,
so,
no.
like,
You are a
stop.
proper wicked role model for not even girls, anyone in the scene. Like, you know what I mean? So,
Thanks.
yeah, thank you for coming and sharing. It means a lot. And hopefully this won't be the last time. Hopefully
Yeah, 100%.
in some way, shape or form, we can get you on or whatever. You know what I mean? We can have a conversation about something
No
else.
bother. Thanks
But,
so much.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. So, guys, hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, thank you. In fact, before we go, anything to promote? 'Cause I like to...
Anything to promote? No, I'm grand for the minute. I'll come back on when my clothing brand starts in a few months.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, watch your space. All right, Becky. Thanks, man. Spot on.